what does Delhi want at this given point? Remember, it's October 21st, and the AQI in the national capital has been witnessing a steady deterioration for the past week now, a situation we see every year during this time. A thick blanket of smog shrouded Delhi with dawn setting in today, making air pollution a cause of serious health concerns for the residents of the NCR. Delhi's air quality has worsened significantly, with the overall air quality index rising from 265 yesterday itself to 307 today, placing it in the very poor category. According to the data recorded by the Central Pollution Control Board at 6 a.m. today, several areas are experiencing even higher AQI levels, including the one place that's highlighted every year, which is Anand Vihar, standing at the highest of 367, followed by Bawana at 358, Wazirpur at 354, Burari at 352, and Jahangir Puriyat at 345. Now, several factors contribute to this air pollution in the national capital. Stubble burning in Delhi's neighbouring states like Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh is considered to be a major cause. However, this contribution this year is only found to be around 2.8% till today. At least that is what the prediction has said, and maximum will go up to 7% by tomorrow, which is October 22nd. And this is the particulate matter, that is the particular contribution in the air pollution which affects and arises some serious health concerns. Now, what is extremely concerning at this given point is that majority of this pollution is coming in from unidentified sources. So what is choking the capital city? 2% is from the contribution of construction activities across the NCR. 14% from vehicular emissions is seen. Larger 32 to 44%, again, contribution to air pollution is from this unidentified sources. This is what the IITM reports or the data reveals with regards to the air quality issue that we are grappling with. With that, we will get into the depths of the story and a larger alarm that's looming over, a larger issue that's looming over the national capital, which is the health concerns related to this AQI dip every year. With me is Professor Dr. G.C. Khilnani, Chairman, PSRI, Institute of Pulmonary, Critical Care and Sleep Medicine, and member of the WHO Technical Advisory Group on Global Air Pollution and Health. Dr. Khilnani, very good morning to you and welcome to News 9. Let's begin the conversation with regards to this unidentified sources. We see every year Delhi grapples with this issue. Very firstly, I would want to understand the contribution of particulate matter and how that indeed affects people, how it affects the pulmonary system, as well as these unidentified sources. When we say unidentified at this given point, it's difficult to even determine what is causing these health concerns, what is causing these alarms for health concerns. Please help us with this particular matter.
You will have to give me some time. Number one, when we say PM 2.5, it's not one. PM 2.5 from vehicles will be different, from the road dust would be different, from stubble burning will be different, from the firecrackers would be different, and so on and so forth. Why we say PM 2.5? Because these are the particles which we enter our respiratory system in the lowest part of the lung where they cause the disease. That is, and it is a measurable thing. Otherwise, it would vary from place to place. That is answer to your first question. Second question is why? Why at this point of time this AQI is so high, which is and 2.5 is so high? Now, stubble burning, you said 2%, but we have to understand the mechanism. The winter and geographical position of Delhi, and the Delhi pollution is not necessarily generated in Delhi. Some studies have also suggested that 70% come from the nearby area, which could be, electrical generating plants, which could be anything. Delhi is measuring it, so you are finding it. But if you go to any city of Uttar Pradesh or Calcutta or Kanpur, or in fact, Delhi at one time was number 7 in India, but that's not what I'm talking about. Now, let me tell you about something about the health, how it affects us. In my last OPD, as a pulmonologist, I saw five consecutive cases which were under my follow-up and very stable with asthma or COPD. And they said for last 4 to 5 days we started having sore throat, we get cough, we are breathless, we have increased our inhaler requirement. When I did their lung function, there was severe deterioration in their lung function. They had already taken a course of antibiotics. Majority of patients who come during the air pollution with cough, they have taken 1, 2, 3 courses of antibiotic without any response. So this is an inflammation which is in the respiratory system, which occurs in not only in people who have underlying disease, but also those who are healthy. Now, there are some people who have no respiratory elements. They come to me that they got up in the morning with the sore throat, running nose. They felt tightness in the chest, and they couldn't breathe. Now, they don't have inhalers with them and they take inhalers. Now, in these two scenarios, the first scenario when there's an exacerbation of the symptoms, this responds nothing but to systemic corticosteroid. That's very unfortunate. But as a doctor, I have to give it to them because that is the only thing which gives reliefs. What does it show? It shows that there's inflammation in the lung. And last year, I conducted a study. There's a test called fraction of exhaled nitric oxide, which measures the airway inflammation. And there were distinct rise in this test. Now, the question is does it affect only lung? No, that's unfortunately not true. The study which was conducted under my mentor Dr. Pandey about 30 years back in the city of Delhi at the All India Institute of Medical Science, we have spent 3 decades, which showed that there was 25% increase in the asthma, COPD, and heart attacks in response to the air pollution in last 24 to 48 hours. So, and another thing that I want to highlight again, and which I highlight every year, that Chicago study has shown that the life expectancy of an Indian is reduced by 5.3 years and Delhi heights by staggering 11.9 years. So we
Right.
are in trouble. We are in trouble, but unfortunately, we are waking up only in the month of October, November when it steps up. The WHO, you would surprise to know, which I am a member, that air quality standard for PM 2.5 is average 5 microgram or on a particular day up to 15 microgram and we are
Right.
living at 200. So that's
Right. Dr. Khilnani, here I would want to ask you one more question to point out the vulnerable groups at this particular point of
sorry, come
time.
again.
The vulnerable groups out there from
Yeah,
this particular pollution, who
yeah.
are the most likely to get affected with this dip in NQI? And the second one being, if you could just give us some few steps as to how to protect ourselves at such times.
Excellent question, Sira. Both are excellent. The vulnerable groups are three. One, young children, less than 5 years old. In Delhi, city of Delhi, every third child has asthma. Every household has got a nebulization machine. And second vulnerable group are elderly, more than 60 or 65 years of age. We saw during COVID time that COVID is also a respiratory condition. So during COVID time, there higher mortality and ICU admissions in areas where the pollution was more, and that came from not India, but it came from Italy, it came from Germany, it came from United States. So what happens during air pollution that those who are vulnerable, those who are elderly, those who have underlying respiratory condition, those who have a minor illness like influenza, they land into the ICU with respiratory failure, requires ventilators, and every year we see that in response to the air pollution, supposed to be trivial infection would lead to severe pneumonia and respiratory failure. And those patients who have not only the lung disease, those who have heart disease or those who are in what we call as chronic heart failure, or they have cancers, or they are on chemotherapy or radiotherapy, these are the vulnerable groups who have to be extremely cautious. Now, what can we do? Now, WHO does not agree that masks help. But I always say that lack of evidence is not evidence to contrary. In my opinion, COVID time, we said you use any cloth mask or surgical mask and it will help. But for the air pollution, you have to use N95 mask. Second advice I would like to give: never go to any crowded markets or places. Third advice to vulnerable group is avoid going to gatherings where large number of people are there in a closed hall or closed room, because there is a high probability of catching viral infections, and at this point of time the transmission of infection is very high. I would also like to tell Syria about the air purifier. Everybody who can afford air purifier today in Delhi owns one air purifier, but I must tell you that there is no scientific evidence that it improves the health of a healthy person.
Hmm. Hmm.
But there are few things which needs to be followed about air purifiers. Number one, that air purifier should be of good quality, which should have filters as well as exorbitant. Filter will filter the PM 2.5. The exorbitant would absorb the gases, which will not be stopped by filter. That is one. Number two, the capacity of the air purifier should be commensurate with the volume of the room. It's not that you keep it in the living room, one air purifier, and you feel that all your house is purified. That is no. Third thing, the room in which air purifier is used must be closed, and air purifier should be on 24 hours. It's not like air conditioner that we use to save electricity, that when we are in the room we put on the AC to control the temperature. Air of the room should be purified all the time. Number 4, the windows and the doors have to be closed all the time, preferably with the air conditioner on in a closed circuit. And lastly, the direction of the flow of the air purifier should be at your bed or whatever. The last point is that who should use it? Those who are vulnerable, those who are suffering from diseases, those who have lung or heart disease, those who are breathless, those who can afford to be in the rooms all
Right.
the time, they should do. And lastly, I do advise some of our patients who can afford to leave Delhi for a few weeks. That's not a good time for them to be around.
Unfortunately, Dr. Kilnani, that is a solution a lot of people in the national capital actually do come down to, they resort to in this critical times in the national capital. Thank you so much for pointing out what we can do at this given point to at least protect ourselves, especially the vulnerable groups out there, from this dip in their AQI. Mr. Kilnani, thank you so much for joining us on News 9.